It is April 25th in Australia, New Zealand, that region of the world right now. It's actually April 24th over here in the United States of America. So that means that over there, where it counts, it is ANZAC Day. So I wanted to say that this is really exciting. What better day to learn finally on video a little bit more about ANZAC Day, learn a little bit through tidbits from you guys, whether it be comments or mail and whatnot. I know it's a very, very special day, and Australia, New Zealand, ANZAC, they have always had the U.S.'s back. So very, very loved and important allies to us. So as an American who is amazed by the bravery of so many service people in our military as well as yours, thank you for your service. And I do love Australia and New Zealand to death. So thank you guys. Here is ANZAC Day. I hope your day is well. I hope you have some delicious ANZAC biscuits. I do know a thing or two about those. And well, let's watch this video. Video is from ClickView, and it will be linked in the description down below. Here we go. The red poppies.
Every year in Australia, we commemorate a very important day in Australian history known as ANZAC Day. At this time of the year, you might sometimes bake...
Those look beautiful. Yeah. See, and this confirms, I thought that I had heard through mail from a couple of you guys that the red poppy is very much associated with ANZAC Day, and I think this confirms.
ANZAC biscuits, or stand in silence to reflect and remember ANZAC soldiers. But do you know who the ANZACs were and why it is important that we commemorate this day?
Those are, you can see the silhouettes here, the soldiers. And yeah, I'm seeing, I forget the name, but I'm seeing unique headwear here that you associate with ANZAC soldiers that, you know, is different than what I would know locally. So very cool to see.
In 1914, the world was in turmoil at the outbreak of World War I.
Crazy time.
Though Australia and New Zealand were considered young nations, both of these countries came together to help their British allies in the war. These soldiers were called ANZACs, which stands for Australia and New Zealand Army Corps.
Correct. That's right. You guys have taught me that as well.
On the 25th of April 1915, the ANZACs travelled to a place called the Gallipoli Peninsula to capture the Turkish capital of Istanbul, known then as Constantinople.
Oh, yeah.
However, they were met by a fierce defence from Ottoman Turkish soldiers. What they had hoped to be a quick campaign turned out to be 8 months of brutal warfare.
Wow. Even longer than I thought, actually.
8 months after their arrival, the ANZACs evacuated from Gallipoli, but not before many soldiers had given their life or suffered great injuries. In fact, over 10,000 ANZACs died at the fierce hand of the war at Gallipoli.
My God.
Upon their return, Australia has commemorated ANZAC Day since the 25th of April 1916, 1 year after the ANZACs first arrived at Gallipoli.
Wow, okay.
There are many symbols and emblems that you might recognise on ANZAC Day. Let's have a look at a few of them.
Yeah.
Yum, an ANZAC biscuit. It can be fun to help.
Luckily, as an American, I know a thing or two about these. You guys have sent us recipes and sent us actual ANZAC biscuits in different varieties. And let me say, these things are awesome. And what's really cool is not only is it, in my opinion, a tasty treat and somewhat healthy treat, right, for being a biscuit, but, you know, they were durable, like they lasted long, right? Isn't that kind of, they were kind of like a version of an MRE food, like, they could have them out on the battlefield and they wouldn't go bad. As well as it's a symbol for a very important day. Really kind of cool, the ANZAC biscuit is.
bake these and even more fun to eat around ANZAC Day.
Very fun
but
to eat.
it's a bit funny to remember ANZAC Day by eating a biscuit, isn't it? Where did they come from? The ANZAC biscuit we have today is similar to a type of food many of the ANZAC soldiers carried with them. Because they didn't have fridges or shops to get food from, the soldiers needed to eat food that would not go bad over time. Many carried the first ANZAC biscuits, which were a substitute for bread. Though they can be a tasty treat, they also help us remember some of the struggles ANZAC soldiers went through. Another symbol you might recognize are flowers, such as red poppies or rosemary flowers.
Rosemary too, okay.
Red poppies were famously found growing in some of the most brutal locations of World War I, such as northern France and Belgium, after the war had ended. Rosemary flowers symbolize memory and were found scattered throughout the peninsula at Gallipoli. Because these flowers are very symbolic, they are used as a way for us to remember those fallen by war. They can often be seen being laid down in remembrance of fallen soldiers during days such as ANZAC Day. The original ANZAC Day was significant because not only was it a day to remember and pay respects to the families and friends of those that had died in war, it also played a major part in forming an Australian identity of courage and mateship that is still important today.
Yes. You know, that's what I admire about Australia and New Zealand, their cultures, especially something with ANZAC Day as well. Even Australia Day to an extent, but like I think I've said this probably a dozen times at some point on my channel before. I just admired that the whole mates thing, right? Like the general people, the general population, for the most part, of Australians and as well as Kiwis from New Zealand, everyone's just so full of life and proud and really there for each other, right? You're going to get help if you need help down there, and it's really cool. And to be honest, I'm across the world, and you guys have really helped my family and I in so many ways. So that's one thing I just truly admire, and I imagine ANZAC Day is just a beautiful remembrance, beautiful tribute to, of course, all of those who have served, who have fallen, whatever be it, in the ANZAC Army Corps, right? It's been one of the greatest things about learning over the last few months about Australia and New Zealand is not all the fascinating things that you can discover, but just the people. Really, really good people, really great sense of community. This community here is incredible, and that's because you guys are incredible. And I also admire how Australia and New Zealand have their little, fun rivalries in sports and such, but I really believe they are truly more than allies, just like brothers or great friends, however you want to word it. It's awesome. So
the ANZAC legend lives on. Soldiers from Australia have defended our country in other wars since World War I. This means that when we commemorate ANZAC Day, we remember those that have given their lives in service of our country on other occasions as well.
Oh yeah.
There are many ways ANZAC Day is commemorated today. Often people will rise for a dawn service. These services are held at dawn each year because this was the same time ANZAC soldiers originally arrived on Gallipoli shores.
Okay.
What are some of the other ways we remember those in our past and present who have committed?
I imagine, at dawn too, I imagine that'd be a very pure, very powerful service to attend.
Themselves to the service of our country on ANZAC Day.
Well, there it is. That was quick. That is What is ANZAC Day by ClickView. Make sure to check it out in the description down below. And yeah, help this video out. Throw a like on there. Throw a subscribe if you haven't already. All that jazz. But you know what? I'm not even going to talk about that stuff as much as I normally do. I would rather just say thank you guys for being awesome people. Thank you to all the ANZACs who have dedicated so much bravery and courage to be who they are and be a part of something like that, as well as all of those who have served and fallen over the last 100+ years. Really, guys, awesome learning about this. Shockingly, I knew a little bit more than I even thought I would about that. So that's kind of cool. I can attest that to you guys. You guys, your comments, your emails, Discord, everything that you guys interact with me on is really makes a dent. It's powerful, right? I see your comments, and I always say I've learned more from my audience than I have even on instructional or educational videos. So really, really cool, guys. It is ANZAC Day over there. It will be the 25th tomorrow here. So I figured I'd upload it on the correct day, which would be the 25th down under, for lack of a better word. Enjoy yourself. Have some ANZAC biscuits, and I'll catch you later.